Angela again here. I hope you're all doing well. Not too bored, or the family's not driving you mad at home. If they are, then you need to relax, come and hide yourself in the toilet with your phone or iPad and come and watch a craft tutorial with me, and then you'll feel better. Well, today I've been busy trying to mark piles of school or college work. My whole dining room table's full of it, and I needed to get away, so I'm not hiding in the toilet, but I'm in my craft room just to get some peace, because I'm sick of looking at all the wrong ways people don't use punctuation. All right, so today I thought I'll share with you something I've just had a look at and made up quickly. What happened was I was gifted one of these seed envelopes from somebody. Well, I've got about 3, and I really like these. I like the big window and everything about it, but of course I've only got 3, so I had to think of a different way of how I could use this. So what I did was I took one of them and I have opened it up completely so that I've got a bit of a template. So if you've got these at home, because obviously in the UK we don't get these, so I've taken one of these. You could take any envelope, really. In hindsight, I could have done that. Any envelope at all, but I've used this one, and that's how I've come to create what I have here. So let me show you quickly what I have done. First of all, if I hold it closer, I have cut out a window in the envelope myself. I'll talk you all through it in a minute. I've made a bit of a altered paper clip here with a little bit of a cluster, so that's that. I've made a little tag and put it on the front there. I've used some of this beautiful paper from Antique Paperie, and that's what I've used for the template, which I'll show you how I did that. So if you turn this over and you open it up, this is the opening side. Then I open it like this, and I've used another piece of paper. This one's from Amity Bloom, I think. And what I've done is I've made a folder here, like that. And I thought this would be quite nice to use instead of just opening an envelope that we normally put into our journals, and you slide in a piece of ephemera. I thought I'd have like a little showcase of ephemera going on here. So I've just folded up the page, I've made pockets, I've put in bits of ephemera that I've made mostly. This flap folds down. I was going to do something here, but it was getting too chunky, so I couldn't, because I was going to put a pocket on there or a different flip out that you can put on there, but it becomes very bulky. So this one folds in like that. I love that. And there, and then that all folds back down together like that, and that like that. In my new template, I've actually made these flaps slightly longer, and then, as I said, this goes on the front. Now I've stuck this bit down, this bit here, because I stuck a butterfly on the back there and put some acetate behind there. You could use vellum, you could use acetate. I had some old packaging, so that was easy enough, and you can stick whatever you want on there. So that's a permanent fixture now, so that is not loose, it is stuck down. So that's what I've done there. So I thought it would just be something different to put into your little envelopes in your journals. So that's what I've done. So I'm going to show you how I made that quickly. Then of course that turns all around. The flaps will be slightly longer. And I've got it upside down. What a numpty. I'm thinking, what have I done? Right, so there we have it. That's what we're going to have a look at today. All right, so I'm going to put that aside quickly. What I did was I took a piece of card, like that. I took my envelope that I want to use, so I've got one of these, and then it's a case of placing it down on here and tracing around with a pencil. The only thing that I've done, if I show you the template that I've actually cut out, let's move that other bit away, is I've made the flaps slightly longer. These 3 flaps here, so you can see they're ever so slightly just a little bit longer, because these are quite narrow. And that's what you do. What happens when you make the first one, you start to iron out all the issues. So that was my pro forma I showed you. It's the first one I made. So that's all I've done here, ever so slightly there and ever so slightly there. So it's simple as that. Lay it down. I'm a fan of templates. I've got templates for everything that I've created. They all stuck up on a pegboard over there, and then just trace around it like that. That way you've got an envelope that you can cut out of any piece of paper. You don't need to use a punch board. This is as easy as that. All right, so I could still stick that all back together and use that for something else. So that's the joy of that too. So there we go. So this is the template I have used. So that would be that. Now I just want to round off this corner because it's irritating me. I did round off the corners, but this one got missed, so there we go. So now all I did was I used a piece of paper. Now what I did here was, because you don't want to make this bit too bulky, because with everything you're going to put inside, you're not going to be able to close it comfortably. So what I've done is I've printed on my paper both sides. So on this side I've got a very sort of muted background. This side I've got a antique paperie image. Now you could use scrapbook paper if you want, because that often comes double-sided, or you could line it if you're not able to print. I just print this out, turned it around in my printer and printed the other side. Simple as that. So I've just put 2 different designs on here. I've kept this one pretty mute. So you could tea dye the paper as well, so that's another way you could do that. So then it's a case of putting this on here how you want it. So how did I do that? It doesn't really matter, but I'm going to just line it up with the side here. I think that's what I did. Now remember, this is the side that you're going to have a window cut out of, so if that helps in any way, just bear that in mind. Then just match it up with the edge at the bottom there and the edge of the printing over there, and then take your pencil and just draw your lines around. Now if you use a nice thick card, which this is, then it's very easy to do that. You won't have a problem, because it won't go over. It sort of gives you a nice edge to run your pencil around. So I just write on here template seed envelope, then I know which it is. Okay, so that's that. You keep that and you've got everything over here. So all you need to do now is cut this out. So I like to use my craft knife, which is now moved. Here it is, for the main straight edges. So I'm just following that quickly. Right, so we've got this cut out. Now if you want to, obviously this won't work here, but for these straight sided ones you can just round that off if that's what you like, and then you can just round off these yourself with a pair of scissors like that, and that's it. All right, so just got a bit of a pencil line here. I like using pencil because you can rub out if you need to. Right, there we go. So there's the base of our envelope. Now what we want to do now is we want to put in a little window there. So I suggest fold this over first. Fold the fold lines for this. So what it means is, if you take your ruler like that, you match it with the bottom there and the bottom there, and you want to fold that over. All right, so do that on all 4 sides. So let's do that quickly. I think that's about right. There we go. I'll just run that all around. There we have like an old airmail envelope. Right, so those flaps are much better, a little bit wider, which is great. All right, so there we have our inside, there we have our flaps, and there we have the front. All right, so you've folded it all and we've got a nice envelope now. Now, what we need is we need a window. So what I did was, I didn't have a perfect square. I had this, which cuts out slightly, well, round corners really. So go and have a look what you want. You can use a circle. I've used circles before. You can use any shape you want, rectangles, squares, whatever you want. That's going to form the window wherever you want to place that on your envelope like that. So if you don't have a die cut, measure it, open everything out. You're going to have to open it out with a die cut anyway. And then what you would just do is use your ruler and pencil just to mark out a square or rectangle or the shape that you want, and then use a craft knife or something like that and cut out your window like that. I'm going to quickly just do this. I'm going to place this over here and just run that through my die cut machine, and I'll be right back with you in a sec. All right, so here I am, I'm back again. Here's the little piece from the window. You can keep that and use that to make a little embellishment or a tag or something. So just keep that aside, and then that's just what I've used. So here we have it. You can see I've got a window there now, which is perfect, and it's given it a nice edge as well. So I'm quite happy with that. That's perfect. What we need to do now is ink everywhere around here. So I'm not going to make you watch this. I'm going to fast forward this. So ink around the edges, and then before I fast forward this, so that you know, ink on the inside here as well, if you want. Obviously I do very light inking, but that's just my preference. All right, I think that's everywhere, so I'm quite happy with all of that. That looks quite good. All right, so we've got our little envelope now, and now what we're going to do is we're going to tackle the inside. So I'm going to use a different piece of paper now, which I thought coordinated quite well with this. This is an Amity Bloom happiness page, I think she calls it. I love the muted tones of this. It's just amazing. And then again, on the back, I've printed a different Amity Bloom page as well that I had. This is vintage documents, so quite muted there. And then the other one on the other side. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So just going to take the ends off here quickly, because it doesn't print a letter size, not an A4. And then what I want to do here is we're now going to size this up and put this into our window. Now the side that I had to go in there was this side. So that's the side that I had going down there. But what you need to do first of all is we're going to fit this into this envelope. So just again, I just want to make my folds really clear with the bone folder really sharp. To put this down like this, we want to make sure that we have like 1 millimeter. If you can see, it's just really little, that we want to make it like 1 to 2 millimeters short from your fold line. Again, all around. You're not going to cut off, you're going to make a mark where it ends. So let's just do that quickly. So we've got our 2 millimeters over there on that side. I'm happy with that. And then move it a bit back, and then just need to see where the flaps are, and then we're gonna do that just there. So it's 2 millimeters away from each border. And then what we're going to do here is, let's just do the same on this side. So I want to just take this mark over to the side here. All right, and then again, that's right. And then I just want to do it on the other side of the paper, and I do that because I'm going to fold this over. We're going to fold this up and make a pocket. So what we need to do is just make the line on all sides here. That's going to make your life easier. So let's just fold that up like that, make a little notch, and do the same over here. And then hopefully, hopefully, and I did struggle with this in the beginning, we have it straight. So what we can do then as well is just check with the top of your board, if you can. So, and then run your bone folder or knife or whatever it is that you want to use. Make that a nice crisp edge like that. All right, so now let's just check that we do, in fact, have this the right size, and it looks like we do. That looks great. So it's given enough space just to fold those over. Now we need to just make some more folds. Now what we want to do is we want to measure again here, again, again, just looking for my fold line, just 2 mils from the fold line there, and you're not going to see this, so we can rub it out, it's pencil. So let's just make a mark there, and let's quickly just take a ruler like that, matching up both sides, and I'm just going to fold that over like that and match it up, and then we're going to run our bone folder down there. That should be right, we hope. Yes, and then so we've got a fold like that now, and then what we're going to do is this one's going to fit inside, so fold this one that far there and that far here. Now you'll see why I've printed on both sides and not lined papers here, because you want to keep the folding that's coming from the pocket and the seam as thin as possible. So I have used a 160 gram paper here, and that's more than enough. So if we have it all folded like that, and that should be pretty, yeah, that's pretty spot on. So let's just make sure that that's, isn't that pretty, that image? I love that. Right, so this now should fit snugly into here, all being well. Yeah, so I think it should be, we can have it either way, it doesn't really matter. We can do it this way or that way. So if we have it like that, I do like that one on the top, like that, and like that, then when we close this all up, it should fit perfectly. Look at that. Yeah, so we're happy with that. So that's where we're going to plant that there like that, and that's the window that's going to show on that side. We're going to put a butterfly over there, but before that we need to put some acetate in there. So everything's going according to plan, so that's perfect. We've got our little pockets, which is really pretty, and we've got everything looking really pretty. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I want to put in my acetate window. So what I've done here, you can use vellum if that's what you've got. I've got a piece of acetate. I don't know if you can see that. Just give it a bit of a polish, make sure there's no dust on it. And then all I'm going to do is I'm going to run some glue just close to the edge here, like this, around the edge here. All right, just like that. And then I'm just going to place this over it. Now you can use it, as I said, use your vellum, use whatever you have. It's locked down, so we've got to make use of what we have. As I've been saving mountains of packaging, I have got lots of vellum about. All right, so there we go. There we've got our nice window already. So you've got your own window envelopes you can make now if you've got a template. And how quick was that? And you can make them with whatever you want on them and not have to decorate them, which I love the decorating, but this is a different idea. Okay, so there we go. So that's going to fit really nicely inside, and I just need to make sure I get it the right way around, which is like that. So when I open it, the flap goes over that side. There's no right or wrong, that's just how I'm going to do it. Now what I need to do is I just wanted to get a butterfly to fit on there. So here I found a butterfly that I want to use, and as always I just say to you, I just go around it, so anywhere where some white is sticking out, it just disappears. So that is a tip I've picked up. So if you're not perfect, you know, so there, it looks like you've cut it out perfectly. Look at that. Right, now what we want to do is we want to, that's our front. That's the bit we're going to end up sticking down there at the end. So we want to put it in like that. Make sure you've got it the way you want it. That's the way I want it. And then we are going to have a look and see how this looks through our window. So that's going to be like that. Okay, so I think I'm going to just place it over there. Let's see. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So I'm going to just put it over there. So let's move that out the way. Get some. And you can put whatever you want on there. This is just a really simple little window display, if you like. So I'm going to just put that, as I said, was it here? I think it's here. Right. I'm not going to stick any beads on like I normally would do or anything, because it's going to not lie flat. So let's see there now. How's that looking? Yep, that's perfect. Look at that. All right, so we've got our butterfly in there. So we're all sorted with that. And now what we want to do is finish off the rest here. Now we're going to put that aside for a minute and focus on this section for a while. And what I want to do is, this is the time where if you want to distress anything, do that. And let's get back after that and I'll give you the next step. So I'll quickly just do this on the edges here. So I hope you guys are all being okay and you haven't been annoyed by the family. I did laugh because we were talking about it as colleagues, because we all linked up through technology these days, and we were saying that we think there will be a lot of casualties, and they won't be from the coronavirus either. It'll be people getting on each other's nerves. So I have seen some funny things on social media in that regard. So I hope you're not getting onto each other's nerves. As I said, run to the toilet with your iPad, lock the door and get some peace. Even if it's just to watch a video quickly. We've all got to have an outlet, don't we? So yeah, crafting is definitely mine. And as a chocolate addict, I'm taking major strain, because I can't pop down to the store on the way home because I'm not in the office and pick up a chocolate. I'm seriously thinking of ordering it off Amazon because, you know, I've got a delivery coming, and I honestly just think, well, when I next order a delivery, should I not just order some chocolate? Because really I'm taking strain. Do any of you feel like that? Missing the things that you would normally have? Oh, I tell you. But people are getting really creative with things as well, which is nice to see. Right, I think that's enough of the inking. Just like it ever so subtly. Right, so there we have this bit all inked up. So what I'm going to do now is, and this is just a matter of choice, you can either go and glue these bits here, all four, for the pocket areas up to there, or you can do your decorative stitching around. So for me, I'm going to stitch right around here and across there, and then I'm going to fold it down, and I'm going to just stitch these up here as well. So that is what I'm going to do, but as I said, the choice is yours. So let's do that quickly, and I'll meet you back here in a minute. So I'm back. So you can see I've sewn all around the edges at this point. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold that flap up again, and I'm just going to stitch these edges here and along the bottom. So let me do that quickly. As I said, if you don't want to be stitching, then just glue these four edges from there to there and fold that back. That would work as well. You don't have to do the stitching bit. It's just my thing. Strings. Don't like them. Right, so there we go. That's everything done. One more. Okay, so there we go. I keep all those strings. I'm sad. Right, so there we've got a pocket there. We've got a pocket there. We've got a pocket there. So I'm going to do a little bit of decorating. I'll show you that in a minute. And there we've got our little fold, tri-fold thingy like that. And I love that image, it's so pretty. And then we've got our butterfly that's going to stick in the middle there. Now before we do that, quickly, one little bit more stitching. I just want to do a little bit of decorative stitching around there. Now just one thing I'd like to say, which you might not know, and I'm going to do a bit of a stitching thing this week, so you'll see when I'm doing my how to create a journal, I'm going to do a little bit of a stitching talk, because I've had quite a few people ask me to do that. So if you're not sure, or you're scared of your sewing machine, or you haven't used it before in creating a journal, then tune in for a tutorial on Saturday about that. All right, so what I'm going to do is, I just want to mention that when you sew on paper, even though the acetate's underneath, it slips on the sewing machine. So it is really slippy when you're trying to stitch it. I like to just do a messy stitch around here. So just bear that in mind. It's not going to be easy. The sewing machine doesn't feed the acetate very well. You can turn it the other way, but it's still not the greatest. So just be mindful of that. All right, you don't have to sew it, as I said. This is just me doing my thing, but do as you please. I'm just going to go around it a few times. here. So what do we have? We've got our envelope. We've made some messy stitching around there. I'm using a goldy mustard thread in case somebody wants to ask me that. I'm sure that'll come up. We've got this all inked, it's all folded, it's ready to go. And because we printed on both sides, or you've used a scrapbook paper that's double-sided, we don't have to do much else there. On the side, we've got this all stitched, ready to go, our pockets on these 3 bits here. And that's going to fold in there and in like that, and that is now going to fit, and we're able to glue that down into the area there like that. So let's just make sure that's where we want it, which it is. All right, so what we're going to do is we are now going to take our glue, and we're going to not go over the area and not too close to the fold, but run the glue wherever you can. Stay about 2-3 millimeters away from the fold, because it does sort of run down when you do it, and you don't want the fold to stick to it. So just be careful of that. It doesn't have to go right to the edge. It'll be fine. This will be ample to hold it in place. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is, after I've cut this off, because I don't like threads, we're going to place this ever so carefully where we need it. And luckily you do have a few seconds of decision time. Just make sure it's where you want it. All right, so let's just make sure that that's how we want it, and when we open this up, that is lying straight as can be. So there we go. I've just got time to wiggle that right. So that looks all good there. That looks all good there. That's going to be able to fold up. That's going to be able to fold up. So it's all looking peachy. Right, so there we have it. We've got that all in place now. So just run your bone folder across that. Okay, so we've got no glue oozing out. Just check before you open everything up, and that's looking perfect. That's exactly what we want. So how lovely does that look? And we haven't even put the ephemera in there yet. Okay, so you can ink up those edges if you want as well. And you can put pockets here. You can do another flip out if you want. You can do whatever you want, but it does add bulk. So let's just make sure that everything is how we want it on that side, and it is, and that's beautiful. I love that. That's really lovely. And then what we want to do now is just put some bits and pieces in here. All right, so I'm just going to steal it from my other one, because I'm not going to show you how to make ephemera. I've got lots on there. So what I've done is I've got some cards that are from Amity Bloom, so that goes in there. These two come from Amity Bloom, and then that's just a card I've made from scraps. So there we go, that would go in there like that. So I love the muted tones of all of this. So, and then you can put thinner stuff in this. This is backed onto cardstock. Here's another piece. I think that one's from Grandma's Attic. That's a card I've made again from scraps. That would go into there. And that's just a tag again I've made. And another one of those little tags from Amity Bloom. So that would just slide in like that. Oh, we first got to do this little bit here. So let's do that quickly. So just again, I'm just looking at some scraps that I have lying around next to me here. Just grabbing some pieces, bits and pieces next to me. I've got this piece of wallpaper, so I'm just going to tear a piece of it off here. Like that. So I've got a bit there. just again tear some, and I'm just doing this with my hands. It's just what I have about. Like that. So I'm just going to put that there, I might like that. So we're not fussed too much, so that would look really nice there and bring a little bit of colour into that area that's quite pale. And then I'm going to find myself a little butterfly in here, and here he is, if I can grip it. I do cut out loads of butterflies. Right, so I'm not going to put any bead on it, but I think that'll look cute over there. And then I was just made these words that I stamp, and then I'm just going to, again with my fingers, take one of those and that can go there like that. So let's stick that down. That's done. Simple as that, really. You can do whatever you like. This is just me using up lots of scraps, and I think we've all got piles of them on the table, and I think I could just do a whole story just on getting rid of the scraps, and I might have a couple of tutorials on what I'm doing to get rid of this ever-growing pile. Seeing we have to use every last thing in the pantry these days, and be sure when we go out to the shops, except Angela, who wants to order chocolate from Amazon because it's Prime, next day delivery. No, they don't really anymore, do they? Prices are so expensive with stuff online. Have you noticed? That's just ridiculous. Yeah, things are really changing. Right, so let's put that there. So I'm quite happy with all of that. That looks pretty. And then I think I quite like what's there. I'm not going to worry with that. I'm just going to put something over here quickly. Looking through my scraps again. I like a bit of script, so I think I'm going to again I'm going to put this over here. And again, I'm just going to like that. I quite like that little flower coming down there. I want to get a little goodie over here. So I've got one of Tracy Fox's little butterfly tea cards, but I've reduced it in size, so it's I think I printed 2 to a page with this, so that's it, and I think that'll go nicely there. So just going to stick that down. Okie dokes. Oh, helps to put the other one. I haven't glued this one yet. Oh, what a nut. Getting distracted. Here we go. The weather's been really lovely here, I must say. I'm not complaining about that. Try not to complain about too much, really. So that one will go there like that. So there, it's all coming together. Quite like that. So there we've got our, I think that's about enough there. Okay, so we've got a couple of goodies in there. Quite happy with all of that. I might come back and just ink these 2 flaps a little bit more. Quite liking what's going on there. It's not overly busy, so just make sure you tuck that in because we don't want anything extending beyond the edge there. And I can just feel the difference in thickness already. So there we go. That's all going to be held down together like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you quickly how I did hold it all down together with my little altered paper clip. So what I did here to make one of these, I just had an old doily. So I had them like this. So I've just cut off one of these pieces. You can just cut off a piece of a doily or anything less, anything that you have. And then what I did was, I've always got rubbish lying around here all over the place. And see, just like this, just lying all over the place. And what I'm looking for is a little bit of, see, more rubbish. See what you see on my desk. Just rubbish everywhere. I'm looking for a little, oh, there we go. Just a little bit of sari like that. That'll work. So we'll put that there. I have to put the scissors on it to make sure it stays. And then I wanted a little bit of this. So big mess. I've got little containers of things all over the place. So we're going to have a little bit of this, and I'm just teasing it out a bit. And folding it back in. And that will go on the top, that will go on the bottom. And then I was looking for some pink fluff because this is sari fibers really that I've collected when I've been, I keep everything. This is just a sad state of affairs, ladies. I keep all the gold threads that I cut off, and I use those as well. But you know, you've got to make these things work. You can't buy fluff like this. So you know. So here's a little bit of very light green snippet there, and that's going to go on there, that's going to go on there, like that. So I'm quite happy with that. So all I need now is a button, and I've got a whole jar of them here, mother of pearl, and we're going to stick one of these on the top there, like that. Oh, I don't like that one. I want a different one. So go away, you. We'll have you. That's better. Okay, so again, a needle. So let's take all the bits, put them all back in there, because I tell you, I'll find a use for every single one. I do it all the time. So see, save every last bit. And now, just going to take my needle and hopefully not stab myself. Just come through here, right through the doily, just to sew the button on, and that'll keep everything in place as well, like that. Oops, one more. So through there. Oh, my poor fingers, I've been stressing. I'm ripping my fingers apart. Okay, so there we go. I quite like that little bit of a shabby cluster going on there. Okay, so we can take the needle out the way. Now, all I do now is I had one of these lovely rose gold clips, and then I have my circle punch, and I'm going to just cut out another one. Excuse me. And then we've got two of these. So all I did was I put this underneath there like that. Underneath. Just sort of centralize it a bit. And then I've just run some of this 3-in-1 around that. And then I just stick the other bit on top. Doesn't really matter about the coloring of these things because you don't see too much of it by the time I'm done. Then it's just a case of putting some more glue on the top and putting your little cluster on the top of that and pressing it down. There we go. Okay. There we go, and there is our little paper clip. So that will just slide on. So it's just a case of sliding that on. I don't want to use that one yet because it needs a few seconds just to dry. So once you've got everything in place there, all you need to do is slide on one of these like that. Oops. Right. We can glue some of those layers down if you've got unruly bits, so you can. And there you have that, just like that. And then all that could fit onto your page, so that would be fine. And then here's this one. Let's just fold this one back up again. This one's got the slightly smaller flaps, so that one goes that way. So I'm going to put that one that way, and I'm going to have this one the other way. And then I'm just going to make one of those little tags so that go on the side. So all that I used for that was, I do have a tag die cuts, but you can just cut this out by hand. So I'm just going to take the smallest one and ink up the edges there like that, ever so lightly. I didn't even put ink on here, it's so light. That's the way I like it, light. So it's just taking the edge off there. And then all I've done is I've got this here and I've tried to find a nice word. I don't want anguish. Then I'm just tearing the word out. You can do this from an Edith Holden page. That would work nicely. Or just, you know, write it yourself if you've got a decent type of handwriting. So I think I'm just going to go like this with the ink. We'll put that on there, and then I just took a little bit of green, I think it was, yeah. I had just a little bit of green like that. Again, just take that edge off. It's ever so small. It's the lightest apple green, really lovely. Okay, so what we want is that way. We want to put that over there. This is probably going to be the longest video. I'm sorry. Keep you busy. Long visit to the toilet. Alright, so we'll stick that bit down there, and we're going to stick this bit on top of it like that. So just layer it up. Yeah. And you can put a little flower on there if you want, but I think coming from where it is, I'm quite happy with that, and I'm going to just stick that. I can go straight across, but I think no, I'm going to just stick it down like that. Is that the right spot for where I want it, or do I want it to be lower down like that? No, I think I'm going to just, I might just put it there like that, and that's fine. Okay, so let's stick that on there. So we're just going to go all around there. And we will stick that over there, just make sure it's straight. Okay, and there we go. We've got another one. So we've got one going that way. You can then just clip that to your page. So if, for example, this was the edge of your page, you could just clip that on the side there like that, or that way even. You know, this isn't an A5, but You get what I'm saying. All right, so you can either put it, you can give it as a gift, as an extra as well. Lovely gift, lovely snail mail gift or happy mail gift with all those goodies in there. Or you can do it that way, whichever you prefer. So there we've just done a little altered envelope, and now you know how to make your own window envelopes, taught you how to make some clusters, a bit of sewing. There we go. All right, ladies, so I hope, give it a try. I'll remember to try and remember, let's say, to put all the links to the various pages I've used in the description box. So go and give this a go. I think it'll look beautiful in your journals. I really love the way it's turned out. And thank you for spending this time hidden in the toilet watching the video. I'm sure you'll take a deep breath now. You can go out and face the world and deal with the family for another 24 hours. And I'll see you all back here again soon. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye, everybody.